What if an ancient text wasn't just a book of rules, but something more, like a detailed, symbolic map, a kind of blueprint for the most complex system we know, the human soul? Well, today, we're going to unfold one such map from the Quran, and what it might reveal is a hidden guide to our own inner world. So, let's start tracing that path.
And it all starts with this one, really provocative idea. Just imagine for a second that reality isn't some straight line. What if it's more like a single continuous loop, almost like a Mobius strip? A loop where light and darkness, spirit and self, they aren't just opposites fighting from a distance. No, they're destined to meet, to interact, to define each other. And that's the mystery we're diving into today. At the very heart of this cosmic drama are two primal forces. So on one side, you've got light. And this isn't just, illumination. It stands for divine knowledge, order, mercy, and the spirit, which is called the Rooh. It's the path of submitting to a higher truth. And then on the other side, you have fire. This represents pride, chaos, entropy, and the unguided self, or the Nafs. This is the path of rejection, the path of putting the self at the center of everything.
Now you might be asking, where does this epic battle between light and fire actually take place? Well, it's inside of us. The human soul is the vessel, the arena for this whole conflict. See, we're constantly being pulled in two directions. By the Nafs, which is our earthly self that's always prioritizing worldly life and desire, and by the Rooh, the divine spirit that has this deep certainty in a higher reality. The Quran gives us a tool for this, something called taqwa. You could think of it as a kind of spiritual consciousness, a finely tuned awareness that lets you tell the difference between the whisper of the Rooh and the shouting of the Nafs. It's what guides your choices.
This entire dynamic, this whole push and pull, it was all set in motion by one single foundational choice. The story of Adam and Iblis. It's not just some ancient tale. No, it's the symbolic moment when these two fundamental paths, the path of submission and the path of rejection, were laid out for every single soul to follow.
See, the fatal mistake that Iblis made, it wasn't just simple disobedience. It was actually a profound failure of knowledge. When he says, "I am better than him," he's making a huge judgment call based on incomplete information. He looks at himself, made of fire, and sees pure power. He looks at Adam, made of clay, and sees something worthless. He completely misses the point, that the clay was designed to be a vessel for something greater, divine knowledge. His pride, which was born from his own ignorance, made him blind to the fact that real superiority isn't about what you're made of, it's about what you know.
And that one choice, it immediately echoes down through humanity. It creates the two archetypes we see right away in Adam's own sons. You have Habil, who follows the path of truth and submission, and then you have Qabil, who, just like Iblis, chooses the path of pride, leading to the very first murder, an act born completely out of arrogance. And ever since, every soul basically walks in the footsteps of one of these two.
Okay, so if we're the arena for this huge battle, how do we navigate it? How do we choose the right path? Well, the Quran gives us a guide. It's in a famous passage known as the Verse of Light. And this isn't just beautiful poetry, it's a symbolic blueprint for how to actually transform the soul from a state of chaotic fire into a state of pure light. The verse kicks off by stating the ultimate reality. Allah is the light of the heavens and the earth. And then, right away, it gives us this incredible analogy, a metaphor to help us understand how that divine light can actually exist inside of us. So let's break down these symbols piece by piece. First up, the verse talks about a niche. Symbolically, this is the human heart. But it's not just the organ beating in your chest. Think of it as a sacred, protected space that's been carved into our very being, just waiting to be filled. It's the vessel that was perfectly designed to hold and protect the divine light. And what's inside that niche? We find a lamp. This lamp is the divine revelation, the scripture. It's the source code of truth itself. It's not just some passive object. It's the actual light of knowledge that gets placed inside the heart to light it up from within.
Now the lamp is enclosed in glass. And this glass, this is a stunning metaphor for the Nafs, for ourself. And this is where our choice really matters. Through submission and awareness, that glass can be polished until it shines like a radiant planet, amplifying the lamp's light for everyone to see.
But if it gets clouded by the fire of pride and ego, it becomes this opaque, dirty barrier, trapping the heart in total darkness. So what fuels this incredible lamp? Its oil comes from a blessed tree. This tree represents the righteous prophetic lineage, this continuous, unbroken chain of guidance. And what's really crucial is that the verse says this tree is neither of the east nor of the west. What does that mean? It means its source isn't geographical. It's not political. It's a divine, timeless wellspring of spiritual fuel that grows from a direct connection to God.
And this all leads to the verse's incredible climax, light upon light. Now, this isn't just more light piled on. It's a totally new state of being. It's a perfect fusion happening inside the soul. The map seems to suggest this is the moment when the light of pure truth, often associated with the angel Gabriel, merges completely with the light of profound mercy and purity, associated with the angel Michael. When truth and mercy aren't two separate things anymore, but a single, unified reality inside of us, that's when the spirit, the Rooh, is perfected.
This brings us right back to the source of that fuel, that blessed tree we were just talking about. The prophets in the Quran are presented as more than just historical figures. They are living archetypes. They embody the key principles you need to walk the path of light.
Chapter 3, verse 33 of the Quran actually names the four main pillars of this sacred lineage. First, Adam, the original vessel for the Spirit. Then Nuh, or Noah, who represents mercy because he preserved the message through a flood of corruption. Then you have Abraham, who is the absolute root of this monotheistic tradition. And finally, the family of Imran, which includes amazing figures like Maryam, Yahya, and Isa, who are seen as the ultimate fruit of this blessed tree.
Now, from Abraham, who's the root, this tree of truth splits into two essential branches. The line of Ishmael represents righteousness through action, through sacrifice and patience. It's a path of doing. The line of Isaac represents righteousness through scripture and wisdom, a path of knowing. The map is showing us that you need both. You have to do the right thing, and you have to know the right thing.
And these different branches, they produce different kinds of fruit, different virtues that we can model our own lives after. We see the ultimate example of sacrifice in Ishmael. We see unbreakable patience in Jacob or Jacob, the absolute height of knowledge in Solemon or Solomon, pure unadulterated mercy in the life of Yahya or John the Baptist, and this profound purity in Maryam, whose veil was like a shield protecting the truth.
Okay, so after this entire journey, after understanding the forces, the choices, and looking at all the guides, what's the final destination? Where does this map lead? Well, it all comes full circle, right back to the beginning, to the individual soul making its final, irreversible choice. And really, there are only two final outcomes. If you follow the path of light, the self, the Nafs, gets polished clean by knowledge and submission, it finally merges with the spirit, the Rooh, and becomes an eternal being of pure, radiant light. But on the path of fire, the Nafs is completely consumed by its own pride and ignorance. It's stripped of all mercy and collapses into a state of pure entropy, a self-consuming, eternal fire. So after all the cosmology and all the symbolism, the entire huge map, it folds down to this single, intensely personal point. Everything we've talked about, light, fire, knowledge, pride, none of it is happening out there somewhere in the cosmos. It's happening inside one soul, your soul. There are two paths, and in the end, there is only one choice that will define everything.
Which brings us right back to you. This entire cosmic map, it's laid out inside your own heart. Your soul is the vessel waiting to be filled. The question this map leaves us with is as simple as it is profound. What are you going to choose to fill it with? Light or fire?